And we're back in the Rocket League film room today. This is A-Dub, and we're looking at a replay from a guy by the name of #whiffing. He did not give me his rank, but judging by what I've seen so far, I'd probably say he's somewhere in the star ranks, maybe somewhere in the middle. So we're gonna take a look at his replay. I've made a bunch of notes here. I'm going to try to go from point to point instead of just going through the whole replay, because there are parts where there's not really anything going on and it's kind of a waste just to sit there and watch it. So here we're at the first point, and I'm going to show you what happens and then talk about some points and what you should do differently. So here he's kind of okay, I guess I should probably give a little bit of context to this. So off the kickoff, he goes and grabs boost. This is fine. So he sees his teammate go up for this, but he sees that his teammate lost the battle, and the ball's hit into the corner. Right now, he's the third man back. You can see on the screen, Lil Bits is the person that went for the kickoff, and he's not back on defense yet. And you know that your teammate just flew probably all the way across the field. If we look, yeah, he's still flying. So you know that you're the third man back. At this point, you've got to slow play this a little bit more than you do. You do kind of what I call cheating into the corner, where you see that the ball is going in the corner, so you're like, well, I need to be where the ball is, so you start driving there, and then he just completely pops it over you. Now, the blue team didn't have anyone going for the ball, so it worked out okay, but really what you should do when you see that you lost this battle, you should try to position yourself in a way that you can play off of this next hit. You know he's going to hit this. You know it's going to go over your head. So you've got to be able to position yourself somewhere, probably like right here, so that after he hits this, you can try to make a save on this ball. Now, like I said, it turns out nobody was going for that, so it worked out in the end. But that's just something to keep in mind. Cheating in the corner really is only a viable strategy if you already have your teammates back with you. Then you can cheat in the corner and try to either force your opponent to make a play or keep them from making the play. So let's go ahead and go on to the next point. Alright, so we see that you are going up for this aerial, which you're a little bit late to go for. And he beats you to the ball, which is kind of dangerous because you already have a teammate a little bit upfield. So you know you're only going to have one person back, and they basically have all three on attack. This is basically a 3-on-1 here. But luckily your teammate makes a great play and gets the clear. And I want to pause it here and take a look at the positioning of both you and your opponents. You have two opponents sitting in the goal right now. There's two blue players literally in your goal. Icy Strike now is the only player on defense for them. Your teammate Sidechain is pushing upfield, and he's definitely going to have possession of the ball. Lil Bits is back, and he's facing away from you. So you know that he is basically saying he's on defense. He's in a defensive position, and he's not going to be able to get in this play. What you do is you drive down the side of the field and basically are just completely out of the play now. And what you want to do, you grab this boost, so you have full boost. And I'm going to go into Flycam. What you want to do is when you see your teammate here take possession of the ball, you want to position yourself in a way that he has an outlet for a pass if he needs to take one, and he should. Because Icy Strike really is the only thing keeping you guys, or keeping him from just driving you straight into the goal. So what you should do, you should see that he's positioned there, and when he hits this ball, you should try to make a play on this ball. You should be somewhere over here, and you should be coming across the field trying to redirect that past the defenders. Since you already have a teammate back, it's fine to break rotation like that. A lot of people get worried about turning around and breaking rotation, but if you see that your teammate is back, as Lil Bits is here, it's completely fine to turn around. And I think, well, Sidechain ideally doesn't want to hit the ball the way that he did. I don't know if he had boost. I just want to take a look and see what he did. I don't think he did. But see, from his point of view, if you are over, let's say, go fly, if you're over here somewhere, and he sees you, he might decide, instead of just slowly dribbling it upfield, he might decide to pass to you, and you can make either a redirect or a shot. It'll give you a shot opportunity. So that's just one of the things I noticed. Putting yourself in a position that your teammate can take advantage of if he so chooses to. Alright, here's kind of an interesting observation I made. And this happens a good amount in the lower ranks when you don't have full awareness of where your teammates are. Basically, you and Lil Bits don't see each other. And watch what happens when you guys decide to rotate back. You rotate back basically to the same exact point on the field and actually run into each other. This isn't, I don't think, completely on you because you kind of had the inside position here. I think this might be more on Lil Bits, and I don't know if this is your team or if you were solo queuing. So I don't want to go too much into detail about what the other people in the field are doing. But if we go to his view, I guess he does kind of see you. In that regard, he should rotate further around this way. He should spread out more towards either midfield or back, maybe even grab this boost. And you should probably also take a wider turn. But the way it worked out is you guys ended up running into each other, and then you decide to take back posts, which is good that you realize that, okay, I shouldn't be in this position, and you guys kind of made up for it and recovered nicely. But you want to be aware of where your teammates are and where you're rotating. And if you already have a teammate rotating to a place, even if he shouldn't be rotating there, you want to make sure that you position yourself in a way that you fill the gap that he left behind, which is what you did in the end. Alright, so on this play, you're rotating back. It looks like your whole team actually is rotating back, but I'm guessing all three of you are in ball cam. You're all looking at the ball. I don't think you probably noticed that. I don't think you guys probably noticed each other and where you guys were, because after he hits this ball, all three of you turn and make an attempt to go for it. Really, once you see him hit the ball like that, you see sidechain is basically right beside the ball. I think you want to keep rotating back, let him take the hit, and he actually makes a really nice pass, but because everybody went for it, actually Lil Bits was actually able to keep flying for it even after he jumped. But because you all went for it, it kind of put you out of position, and could have led to either a counterattack or a missed shot opportunity. Alright, in this scenario you did a good job rotating. If we back it up a little bit, you rotate kind of awkwardly down the side, but it works out because your other teammate was pushing up. You did a good job not turning into the corner and letting your teammate come up for that. So you're in a good position. But here, I think at this point, you got to recognize that your opponent already has this clear, and you kind of drive on the wall, maybe hoping that he misses, but I don't think he's gonna miss that ball, and now you're out of position, and that leads to a goal. So once you see he's got this ball right here, you should turn and rotate down the middle of the field. You shouldn't drive to the wall and then hope that he misses. You should turn, come straight down this way, let him go up for it, which is he does, and if you're over here somewhere, then once he misses, you just come in and hit the ball into the corner and you're fine. But because you kind of anticipated him missing, or maybe you thought you could beat him to this ball and just drive on the wall, they end up getting a goal. Now, you got to hope that your teammate is able to make a play, but Icy Strike actually made a nice second touch on the ball to hit it under him. So that's really a good play on offense, but I think you could have prevented it if you had taken a better rotation on defense. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Anytime you can rotate down the middle of the field, it's gonna be better for you. You can do a lot more in the middle of the field than you can on the sides. So this next part, I wanted to point out a good play that you made, and something that I don't see a lot of people do at this level. You actually make a touch on the ball, anticipating that you're going to get dunked, and trying to hit the ball around him. Now he still gets a block, but the block ends up being more beneficial for you than it was for them. See, a lot of people, when they go for this, are just looking to slam it as hard as they can, and in a lot of situations where they're trying to get a block on you, you want to hit the ball around them. So you see that he's flying, and the way you position your car, you're able to hit it around him and actually use his momentum to clear the ball upfield for you. And I just wanted to point that out. That was a really nice play you made to make sure that you guys kept possession. Now in this next play, I wanted to point out that every hit doesn't have to be towards the net. And what ends up happening here is maybe it's because of the time, or you just wanted to be that guy that scores the game-winning shot. But what you end up doing is you try to get around the ball so you can take a shot here, which, you know, makes sense in the fact that, okay, yeah, I want to win the game. But in this scenario, you basically lose possession of the ball because you wanted to take the shot. If you had just gone right away and hit this ball the way you were driving, either at the corner of the wall in hopes that it pops up for a pass, or passing at little bits so that he can make a redirect towards the net, but you decide to try to go around the ball so you can get a shot, and Icy Strike comes in and clears it, so you lose an opportunity for a last-second goal. Alright, here at the end of the game is the first time I really noticed that you went for a fast aerial, and maybe you did it earlier in the game, I just didn't notice, but I like to see that people are attempting to do that, even if they're not fully comfortable doing it yet, because that really, really improves your overall skill ceiling. When you're able to get those fast aerials consistently, you're going to be beating people to the ball all the time, and it's going to really shoot you up the ranks. It is a challenge at first to be able to control it because of how fast you shoot up in the air, but it gets you a lot more power on the ball and gets you there a lot faster. Alright, on this next play, I feel like a lot of people in the lower star ranks, or even probably in challenger ranks, are really trigger happy when it comes to aerials because they get so excited and want to hit that sweet aerial, but it ends up putting people out of position a lot because everybody ends up going for the same ball. So on this play, you see Lil Bits is making a play up the wall. This ball is not in a place where you can make a beneficial touch. You already see your teammate up there. He's going to try to pass it to you again. He's going to try to hit it in the middle of the field. On the contrary, Rui Barbo, I don't know how to pronounce that, but he's going up to try to block this, or he's trying to clear it. So really, best case scenario is that Lil Bits makes a pass for you and you stay on the ground and go for it. Worst case scenario is Lil Bits isn't able to make the pass, and Rui Barbo got it, I think. Gets a clear, but you go up for it and he still clears it over you, and I think that's what happens here. So yeah, now you and your teammate are both flying in the air, and the ball is heading back towards your end, and now Sidechain knows he's third man back and makes a great play to keep the ball in here, but then he passes it and nobody's really here for the pass. So he goes for himself and gets a little weak touch, and because nobody was there rotating, because two people committed on the same ball, you kind of lose out on a scoring opportunity. So what you really want to do is trust that your teammate is going to make the play. You want to trust his intentions. If you don't trust his intentions, it becomes really hard to predict or position yourself, because you don't know whether you should assume he's going to miss, or if he makes the play and you go up too, then you're not going to be in a position to make a play. Okay, so this next ball almost leads to a goal, and this could have been prevented pretty easily, I think, if you had been able to recognize what was going to happen. Rui Barbo hits this ball off the wall. As soon as you see something like this, Exac sitting there waiting for this ball to come down, you've got to turn around and start playing his hit, because what ends up happening is you kind of start driving towards the wall again, and he's already up. He's going to hit this ball probably pretty hard because it's off the bounce. And since you're not rotating back, it's going to go right past you, which is exactly what happened. And luckily for you guys, that went off the post, but that could have easily been a goal and could have easily been prevented if you had just taken a second. You know, it's hard to take a second during the game, but if you had recognized that he had this clear and that you should be rotating back here, you could have cut this ball off and hit it into the corner or across the field, and you would have been okay into things. But turns out they missed it, so you survived and lived to see another day. Alright, so one of the last points I'm going to make for this analysis, and before I say this, I just want to say that your positioning has actually been pretty solid for most of the game. Other than some of the things I pointed out, I felt like you were pretty positionally sound for your rank, and didn't really have too many blunders where you were completely out of position. But I just want to point out little things like this where you kind of just drive right up behind your opponent, or not your opponent, but your teammate. You really want to be more, let's see, your teammates here, you want to be more like over here somewhere, maybe even at midfield, because what ends up happening now that you're over here, the ball comes across the field and you're like, okay, I need to boost over here. And if you had already been here, you could have easily taken this ball, right? But because you were beside your teammate on the other side of the field, you weren't able to get over here in time, and you know, they take possession of the ball. So we can go ahead and fast forward here. I'm gonna go back to your point of view to the end of the game. I think the goal scored at the end wasn't anything special. I don't know if, let's see. Yeah, okay, I remember now. So this ball shoots off the wall and you hit a pass in the middle, which a lot of people say not to do, but this is a completely fine strategy to do. Your teammate, you see one teammate there pushing up, and they're both opponents are facing backwards. So theoretically, you guys should win this ball, and your other teammate is coming up too. So you would think in a situation like this, like one of these two would have made a play on the ball, but what ends up happening is he just misses and they score a goal. Really, sidechain probably shouldn't. Let me see. Sidechain kind of cut all the way across the field for this. Really, Lobit should have gone for this, and if he missed, sidechain would have already been back here to make this save. So that, I think, would be more on sidechain than anything. But really, Lobit's ideally would have hit this, and it wouldn't have been a problem. And I don't fault you for making that pass. I think that was a completely fine pass to make towards the middle of the field. So overall, like I said before, I feel like your positioning was actually pretty good, and I'm just going to play from the beginning here. Maybe I'll just throw an auto cam while I talk about maybe some things you can improve on and possibly how you can improve on those things. Like I said before, you want to be aware of where your teammates are. You want to position yourself in a way that is complementary to where they're positioned. Like I said before, in that one play where you could have stayed upfield and redirected a pass from your teammate, but you rotated back. If you had acknowledged that your teammate was already back, you already had a third man back, you could have turned and made a play on the ball and possibly have led to a scoring opportunity. And then there was the other scenario where you kind of drove up behind your teammate, and if you had positioned yourself a little bit better, you could have maintained more pressure on the ball and hopefully have led to at least another scoring opportunity or a goal. Another thing I noticed when I was watching you play, and there actually that was perfect timing, and that was one of the examples. My voice just cracked a little bit, sorry about that. So this ball, you're trying to catch this ball on your car, and I might have lost my spot. No, here we go. So yeah, you're trying to catch this ball, and I'll go to your view. You turn off ball cam, which is fine. That's usually what you want to do when you're going to trap the ball. But you're just off a little bit. And I saw this maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the game where you try to trap the ball, and for whatever reason you were just a little bit off, and maybe that was just an off game and you do that fine most of the time. But something you could do to practice that, if you didn't know, something I used to practice, I would go into all-star aerial training, and instead of going up for aerials, I would just practice catching the ball on my car. So I'd practice catching it on the front of my car, I would practice catching it on the side of my car, and then after you catch it, you can practice just carrying it on top of your car and trying to score it. It's just another way to do the aerial training without doing aerials, to practice ball control, realizing where the hitboxes are on each car. You know, every car has a different hitbox, so if you're using a flatter car like the Masamune, it's going to be different than if you're using like the Octane or something. So you've just got to be able to recognize the hitboxes, and I think that's really the best and the easiest way to practice that, other than free play, just dribbling around. But in free play, you can't really shoot the ball up like that as easily. So that's one thing I would recommend that you practice, just to improve your ball control. The other thing is, like I said, your fast aerials. I saw that you were going for them, and I noticed a couple times you went for the fast aerial when you didn't need to, and this is something even I still do in some occasions. You try to play fast, and every scenario doesn't need to be a fast aerial. Sometimes it's better to just do a single jump aerial so you have your flick or your dodge after. Sometimes it's better to just do a double jump aerial because you don't want to hit the ball as hard. I saw a couple instances where the ball really didn't come off the ground that far, but you still did the fast aerial. And like I said, I still do that. I'm sure a lot of people still do that. I've gotten to the point where I can control the fast aerial enough to where it doesn't mess me up too much. But you want to be able to know when to use it and when not to use it. And the more consistent you get with it, the better off you're going to be, obviously. So that's about all I have for you for this replay. You uploaded a pretty long one, so you got kind of a two-phone here, which is completely fine. It was like a 10-minute game. Unfortunately, you guys weren't able to pull it out, but hopefully some of the tips that I gave you will make it so you play a little bit more consistently, and maybe will help you position yourself better in the future. And if this is your team, feel free to let me know. I'd be willing to do more of a team analysis and not so much of just your individual analysis. If it is just solo queuing, then this should be, probably what you were looking for in terms of your individual skill play and looking how you can improve. But anyways, thank you for watching. If you have any more videos that you'd like me to look at, I'd be willing to do so. I'm working on a way for people to contact me through my website, rlfilmroom.com, and once I get that up, I'll be letting people know. But in the meantime, probably just going to be contacting you through Reddit. Anyways, so thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.